What's up guys, I am back with another video and today I'm going to show you how to make this custom CAPTCHA to verify that your users are actually human. This is from preventing any bot accounts or spam accounts coming into your Discord server and causing mayhem, spamming all your channels. This is an extra verification step that you can enable with your own bot, verify they're actually a human, and then your bot will give that user a role that will hopefully unlock all the channels to your server. So here's an example /verify. You're going to send it. It's going to say, verify you are a human. Please select the correct answer to this question to verify you are human. 3 + 1. You just have to answer this question. We have 4 options here. Obviously, it's 4. Then it says you have been verified as a human. And if we go over here and check, we have the human role. And yeah, that's basically how this will work. And then you can set it up in your Discord server that only people with that human role or whatever you want to call your role, they will then have access to all of the rest of your channels. So with that being said guys, let's hop right into the code so you guys can build this into your own bots. So let's go over to VS Code and we're going to make a new command. In the last video I showed you how to make these fun commands, but this is a verify command, a CAPTCHA command. So I'm going to actually add this to our utility folder. So if you're following along with my last 2 videos on this channel, then your code should be exactly up to date with what I have here. Let's go into utility, make a new file, and we're going to call it verify.js. This is going to look very similar to all the other / commands, but let's go over the imports for this one. So first, let's take in, of course, the / command builder. So that's capital S / command builder. Then we're going to also need in here is button style, because we're going to add some buttons for the multiple choice option on the verify screen. Then we're also going to need component type. And this is all going to come from require discord.js. And there you go. We need those 3 imports. And then there's 2 other things that we're going to need for our buttons. So we're going to take the button builder. And then along with that, we're going to need the action row builder. And then require, and then this we're going to take from discord.js /builders. There we go. That's all the imports we're going to need. And then let's now start the / command code, which is of course module.export equals data. Then we're just going to do new / command builder. Let's set the name, and you guys can call this whatever you want. If you can call this CAPTCHA, or you can call this what I'm going to call it, which is verify, because that is what we're doing here. We're verifying the user. So my name is going to be verify, and my description I'm going to set as verifies if you are a human. And again, you guys can customize this to your heart's content. And then let's do the async for the execute command. For the execute logic. So interaction, there you go. That's the boilerplate code for all / commands essentially. Now let's start on this specific logic for this verify command. Now, what we first want to think about is what if they use this command and they already have been verified. So let's right off the bat just handle that case. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to check the user who is making this command's roles. So we'll say if interaction.member.roles.cache.sum. So we're going to iterate through all the roles that this member has. And we're going to look if there is one that has the same name, or you can go based off ID, but the same name as the role that we're going to add when we verify someone. So let's take every role and let's check the role.name. And then in my server, I have the role name as human, but I'll show you how to set that up. So go to your server, go to your Discord, and you can create a new role. And this role will serve as the role that you give to people when you verify them. So I'm just going to call this human. You can call this verified, or you can call this, whatever you want. But I'm just going to go with, why is this selected? I'm going to say human. And let's give it a nice, We'll just go basic white just so it doesn't conflict with any other roles that you might have in your server that maybe are more colorful. That's all we need. Really, we just need the name. So if you want, you can also go to, let's go back here. You can right click this and you can say copy role ID. And so in the code, when we match role.name, we can also do role.id and equals the ID of our role. So you could do this and this will work perfectly fine. But just for readability, I'm going to match it on the name. So this has to match the exact name in your Discord server. And so this would not match this, right? Because human lowercase is not the same thing as this human uppercase. So it has to match exactly. And if you don't want to match it exactly, then just use the ID instead. Okay, so this statement says if the role has some role, which means it's going to check every role in it, if at least one of them matches this condition, if at least one of the roles that are on this user matches the name human, then what we're going to say is we'll just send them a reply telling them you have already been verified. So let's say await interaction dot reply content, you have already been verified as a human. Perfect. And then let's send this back as ephemeral. And then after that, we're going to return. We want to not run any code below it. So now let's move on to the logic of if they are actually not verified, and this is the first time or second time or fifth time running it, we should give them that math equation, super simple math equation, so that they can at least verify that they're not a bot, right? So we're going to use actually random numbers. Guys, in programming, if you find yourself doing something over and over and over, usually that's a hint to you that you should be making it into a function. Because a function is just a repeatable program, essentially, that you can continuously run as many times as you want, whenever you want, and it's going to always work the same. So let's do a function, and we're going to say gen rand num. And we're going to have a start and we're going to have an end. And this is just going to generate a random number that is going to be between this number, and it's also going to be inclusive. So including this. So if this was 1 to 10, it's going to be a random number between 1 and 10, which means it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. And then let's just make it so we can pass any numbers in there. So that's why we use parameters. And then let's just return math.floor, math.random. So this is going to generate a random number between 1 and 0, but then we're going to multiply that by end minus start plus 1, and then we're going to add the start at the end. And there you go. This will be just your simple function, guys. Don't overthink this. Just know that this gives you a random number. And this is something that you'll probably often want to do in a lot of code. You know, a lot of things that your bot does, you don't want it to necessarily be perfect. You kind of want to have a random element to it to make it feel dynamic. So the first random numbers that we're going to want to generate are going to be the ones that we're asking the user to add up. So 5 plus 3 equals what? 2 plus 1 equals what? But we want to generate those numbers randomly. So we're going to say const rand num1 is equal to gen rand num, and we're going to do a number between 1 and 9. So single digits only. You can obviously make this a lot more complicated if you want. You can do super large numbers, and if you wanted that, you could just change this. But this is something that you kind of want your user to just answer pretty quickly. You don't necessarily want them to have to pull out a calculator just to figure out the problem. But you know, however you guys want to do it, this is just to prevent bots from getting into your channels. So const rand num2, and we're going to generate another random number. Same exact way. We just want a single digit number. So there we go. We got 2 random numbers. Now, moving on, we're going to have to sum these and then get our 4 options. And this is the way I was thinking about it. I think first we need to figure out the sum of these 2 numbers. Then what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to hold 4 numbers including the sum to display. But how are we going to get those 4 numbers? We're going to have to generate random numbers, but we want the numbers that are randomly generated, so the other 3 options, to be pretty close to the answer. But we don't want them to be the answer, right? So what we're going to want to do is generate 3 random numbers that are within 5 of the sum. So plus or minus 5 within the sum, right? So the way we can do this is first let's figure out the sum of these 2 numbers. That one is probably the easiest step we have. So correct sum is equal to rand number 1 plus rand number 2. Pretty simple, right guys? Now let's hold 4 numbers including the sum to display. So we're going to use an array to hold these 4 numbers. So let's just say const options. And we're going to make an array, but first we want to add in the number that we do know we want as an option, which is the correct sum. So it's an array with 1 item in there, and we're going to have to fill it with 3 other items. In order to fill the options with no duplicate numbers and not including the sum again, that are plus or minus 5 from the sum, let's just use a while loop. So this is going to loop basically forever until this condition options.length does not equal 4 is no longer true. So if this is true, this will continuously loop. So we're going to loop, and once the options.length is equal to 4, this loop will stop. And 4 is when we want to stop because we only want to have 4 options. You can increase this number if you want to have more multiple choice options on your embed. So let's do const new num is equal to gen rand num. So we're going to generate another random number, and we're going to again do it plus or minus from where the sum is. So we're going to take correct sum minus 4. So that's going to be our start for our random number. And then we're going to say correct sum plus 5. And that's going to be our end for our random num. So that way this will be a random number between, let's pretend our sum is 10. Then this random number will be 5 all the way to 15. It's going to be one of those numbers. But we don't want to add this if it's already in options, including like what if it happens to be the correct sum. We don't want to add that. So we're going to do an if statement, and we're going to say if not options.includes. So we do not want to add repeat numbers. So if it already includes the new number, then we should just skip it and it will just continue to loop and generate another number. But if it is a completely new number and it's not already included in options, then what we're going to do is we're just going to push it into options. Options.push new num. So that way this will continuously go until we get 4 unique numbers that are all around the correct sum. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to randomize these numbers. So I will delete these comments real quick, guys. This was just to explain that. But let me just delete these. So that's the logic. Pretty simple. I think everything tracks there. Now, what's the issue, guys, is if we display these options right now, then correct sum will always be the first item, which maybe a bot could probably figure that out after a while. They probably could figure out that the correct option is just the first option, and then it should just click the first button. So to circumvent this, what we're going to want to do is just randomize the order of options. And the way to do that is we just say options.sort, and then we're going to have to pass a sorting algorithm into here. And what we're going to do is just math.random minus 0.5. This is just going to randomize all of our options so that they're all in a different order. So now let's just make the embed, now that we have a randomized, now that we have 4 options that are relatively close to the sum, now let's do const embed equals, and then we have an object, and we're going to say title, verify you are human. So this is just the title of our embed. And then we have to give it a description just to let the user know what we're doing. So let's do backticks, and we're going to say, please select the correct answer to this question to verify you are a human. And then let's add some extra lines here. So I'm just going to do \n 2 times. So that does new line, and then we're going to say rand num 1. Don't forget the money sign. Rand num 1 plus rand num 2. So we're just printing the equation out for them so they can actually see what math problem they're supposed to solve. And then we're going to say equal, and then let's add a little blank space here so it's kind of obvious that they have to solve it. And yeah, so we just say verify you're a human, new line, random num 1 plus random num 2 equals blank. And that should be good. And just so you guys know, don't follow me every time because I make mistakes. So hopefully you guys caught that that's not supposed to be equals because we're inside of an object. And objects need key value pairs, and we have a key, and we use a colon, not an equal sign, inside an object. So there we go, we got the embed. Now let's create the buttons on the embed, and the buttons are going to have all those options on them. So let's say const buttons equals options.map, and we're going to do it for each button. So we're going to say option index, and then let's do new button builder. So finally we're using that button builder. And then we're going to say set custom ID, and we can do string index, set label, string option, then set style, button style dot primary. So this line is just going to make the button basically blue in Discord. This label is going to set it so each one of our numbers are random numbers, and the answer is going to be the label of the button. And then custom ID, we're just going to use the index. We're going to need that later when we collect the answer from the user. So now let's use these buttons to put them into a row. So we're going to say const row equals new action row builder dot add components buttons. Pretty simple. And then we're going to say const message equals await interaction dot reply embed components row fetch reply. We're going to say true because we actually do want the user to reply to this embed. And then we're going to say ephemeral. We're also going to say true because, and this is up to you, you guys can make this completely public. If you do make it false on ephemeral, then you're going to have to slightly modify how it collects it because you're going to want to make sure that whoever clicks the button is the person who initially created the interaction. But if you're going to do ephemeral, then we don't have to worry about that. So there we go. Now we have the message. So let's now do a collector. So const collector equals message dot create message component collector. We're going to say the component type. So component type. Then we're going to use our import component type, and we're going to say it's button. And then we're going to give it time, and I'm going to give it 15 seconds. So that's 15,000 milliseconds. You guys can give it more time if you want to do 30. I think because I'm trying to see if it's a bot, you know, and I want them to like answer the problem pretty quickly. I'm only going to do 15 seconds on mine, but you guys can feel free to extend that even to a minute plus if you want. Then let's say collector.on. So let's now do the logic for when they click a button. So we're going to say collect async I, and then we're going to say const selected answer equals options I dot custom ID. So we're going to take from the options the custom ID, and that will be their selected answer. The reason why this is so nice is because we set the index as the custom ID. So that's our index of the options. So whatever the I, which I in this case is the option that they picked, we can just do I.customID inside options, and then we have the selected answer. Now we just have to check if that selected answer is the correct answer. And how do we do that? With an easy, simple if statement. We're just going to say if selected answer is triple equals to correct sum. If it is, then that means they got it right. So we're just going to say embed.description equals you have been verified as a human. Obviously, please feel free to spice that message up a little bit. Then let's add them the role that they are now verified. So let's find the role first. We're going to say const role equals interaction.guild.roles.cache.find. And then we're going to take the role and we're going to find it by role name. Again, you can do this by ID. We're going to check if that is equal to human. If it does find one, so if role, if that role does exist in your Discord server with that name, then let's add it to the user who just got the question right. So await interaction.member.roles.add role. So that's just how you give a role to a user. Interaction.member.roles add roles. And the member is the person who used the interaction. Then we'll say else embed.description. So this is if they got it wrong. Then we'll say verification failed. You selected the wrong answer. Womp womp. And so let's continue. Await.i.update. Now let's send this new embed back because we only really want to collect it once. We don't need multiple, we don't need to continue collecting. We just need one response. And then embed. And then I'm going to clear the buttons here. So components, empty array. So this is how you clear the components because previously components was the button row. Now we're making it empty and we're sending back the updated embed. After we got this, then we can just do collector.stop. We no longer need to collect any responses. So that's all the logic. Now let's just handle when the collector is done. So collector.onEnd. So this is when the collector is finished collecting. Then let's just do an arrow function with collected, and we're going to say if all the collected responses .size is equal to 0. So this is either if I call collector.stop or if the time limit is reached, then this function will run. So we're going to check if there was anything collected, if the user actually responded. And if they didn't, then I'm just going to say embed.description equals verification failed. Verification. I think I missed an I up here. Verification timed out. Please try again. And then let's send that back. So await interaction.edit reply. Edit reply embeds. Pass in the array of embed, components array. So clear the buttons and then update the embed with that it has timed out. And then I'm just going to delete this reply to because they'll probably try again and we don't want to have just a whole backlog. So I'm just going to say async on the set timeout and we're just going to say await interaction.delete reply. And then I'm just going to do this after 10 seconds. So, oh Lord, that's 100 seconds. Okay, 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, this reply is going to get deleted, but this is just to let them know that it timed out. And this is all the logic for the entire verification. So hopefully you guys learned something here. Let's test it out. So let's go ahead and deploy those commands. So node deploy commands.js, and then let's start up the bot. All right, let's head over to Discord. You should see your bot online, and let's test out if it has the new command. So let's go to meowbot, and we got verify. Let's see, verifies if you are human, enter. It says, verify you are human. Please select the correct answer to this question to verify you are human. 9 plus 5. And so you see we have the answers 14, 19, 15, and 12. And it should time out here soon. Let's see. There we go. Verification timed out. Please try again. And then it should delete. Hopefully 3, 2, 1. Will it delete? There it goes. So let's answer it correctly now and see if it works. If we do it right, so 9 plus 2, which would be 11. So we have 9, 16, 7, all pretty close, but we're going to go with 11. And it says, verifies you are human. You have been verified as a human. And let's see if we got the role. And there we go. Now we have the human role. Let's now test what happens if we try to re-verify ourselves even after we already are. So /verify, and it says you have already been verified as a human. So everything seems to be working, and just like that, you can use this to like open up all the channels in your Discord server for this role. Like let's say you have to have this role to see anything. That's an easy way to make them verify that this is better than just a reaction role, because any user can do a reaction role, right? Even a bot would be able to click a reaction role. This actually takes some kind of human interaction, like thinking and answering a question. Even though it's a very simple question, it's at least a little bit better than doing reaction roles. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment down below if you want any other features. Also let me know in my Discord. You can come on over here and check out the Discord. People are always getting help. You know, if you have any questions on any of my past videos, any of my future videos, please let me know. Link is in the description below, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.